Hey Queens, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. I am back and I'm back full time, and I'm super excited to introduce my new videos, which is going to be on cooking. You know, have a passion for cooking, and I want to recreate a lot of the recipes that I'm, obsessed with. So yesterday I filmed the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what I had in a day. And so I walk you through the steps on how to make those meals. I hope you enjoy it because I had so much fun and I can't wait to bring you more recipes. I think that this channel is going to focus on the things that I love most, which is fashion and food and traveling. So stay tuned for that. I have so much to tell you, but I'm going to leave that for another video. Maybe I'll do a get ready with me and I'll tell you what I've been up to. But I've missed you so much and I'm so happy to be back. I have so many surprises to share, in all in due time, and I'm super excited and I am so, I don't know, I'm very joyous. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Well, with that being said, I'm glad to be back and let's just jump right in. So this morning I woke up early, I meditated, and I did my Zumba. But immediately after my Zumba, I became so hungry. But I didn't want to eat any carbs, only because, I mean, I know I just worked out a million calories, but I just don't like that feeling of, that fullness, that gluttonous feeling. So I wanted something light. And I opted to get some eggs out of the fridge, get some spinach, and just make a spinach omelet. As you can see here, I'm using my stovetop. And only because I wanted to see if this angle right in front of the window was better for you guys. If you notice what I just did, I spread the butter or the margarine, because I use margarine, I don't use butter, with the knife. I remember as a child when my mom was teaching me how to cook, she would tell me, Jazz, don't do that. That's gonna scrape the pan, or she would say, that's a little lazy. You got to use the spatula. And so, every now and then I still do it, but I try to follow the rules. The thing with eggs, cooking eggs, right? I was watching a couple of YouTube videos and I see how the French do it. And so they leave, to make it creamy and fluffy and everything. They don't really cook the egg thoroughly. And I mean, I wasn't raised in France, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I don't enjoy my eggs that way. And so I just feel like if they're not cooked well enough, I just can't consume them. So here I'm flipping them a few times because I just want to make sure that they are fully cooked. And if you see when I press down, you can still see some of the raw egg. So I flip it a couple of times until I don't see any more liquid coming out of my omelet. So basically this is the quick way that I do an omelet. I plated it with some avocado, and I ate the whole avocado, by the way. Two of my favorite things are on this plate: avocado and spinach. I added a little sriracha also to my plate. Well, not to my plate, to my eggs. Only because, I think that sriracha or hot sauce with everything is genius. So this was my breakfast. Hope you liked it. So for lunch, I opted to eat shrimp with sauteed bells and peppers. And what I did first was devein them. I washed them with vinegar and lemon. And I opted to chop up, or use the garlic press actually, to get some natural flavors. And I did 2 cloves of garlic. I could have used garlic powder or onion powder, but I like the freshness of the garlic itself. So that's what I did. And I didn't add more, only because garlic makes everything's a little spicy. So I only chose to do 2 cloves. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of the soy sauce that we got from the local Chinese spot during our recent takeout. I only use half because of the sodium. Here I'm adding some yellow mustard. Have you ever tried yellow mustard? You will love it. I'm adding about a 1/4 spoon of cumin, and I'm also going to use white pepper. I feel like black pepper, it makes it spicy and I don't want that. I'm also using sweet paprika and about, I want to say maybe a couple of dashes, maybe half a teaspoon. This vegetable blend is called Flavo Rice, and I discovered it watching another YouTuber. His channel is Daddy's Kitchen, and I will link it below. I also added a little bit of oregano just for the shrimp to taste fresh, and I'm mixing it up. I'm making sure that everything is well incorporated before I put it on the pan. And now I'm going to put that to the side and cut up my peppers. I used yellow and orange peppers for this. I didn't have green peppers, but I also like green peppers. And I love to use all the colors of the rainbow in my food, as you've noticed. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see the pictures are very colorful. I feel that, well, I've also heard that the more colors you use on your plate, the healthier it is, right? So, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, it is JB1248. Here I'm cutting the yellow one, and I'm doing the same, just slicing it, cutting the middle part, what is that, the fiber, and I'm gonna add it to my plate. I'm also gonna add some white onion. This is not my favorite. I prefer to cook with yellow or Spanish onion, but this is what we had in the house, so I decided to use it, and it was very flavorful. Now I'm going to heat up the pan and just make sure that it is hot enough to start sauteing the vegetables. To my pan, I add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and half a teaspoon of margarine. The reason why I don't use butter, some people may ask, is because I don't like the flavor. I prefer to cook with margarine only because of the flavor, and I feel that the flavor is a little lighter and not so potent. So here I've just added my veggies, and I'm going to toss them a few times. And as far as sauteing vegetables, I try not to keep them in the heat too long, only because I want to take the rawness out, but I don't want to overcook them. So, I don't like, mushy vegetables. I like some bite to it. So I'll keep moving them until I feel that they're cooked well. Here I'm just adding the first couple of shrimp. I believe they were like 14 in total. I didn't get many because it's just me that eats shrimp in the house. My family's allergic to it, so I have to be very careful about how I cook it and clean the cleaning process afterwards. And obviously 14 shrimp may not sound like a lot, but it is. That's quite a feast. I think that feeds 2 people. So here I'm adding a little bit, like maybe a quarter of a spoon of a teaspoon, quarter of a teaspoon of margarine, again, just because the pot or the pan got a little dry, so I didn't want my shrimp to burn. I'm just turning them over because the bottom looked pink, so that was my cue to turn them over and allow the other side to cook. Now that I notice that they're fully cooked, I'm going to remove them from the pan, and I'm going to add the rest of my shrimp, the raw shrimp. Yes, I've added another half a teaspoon of margarine. And if you see the bits on the pan, they look black. That's there's nothing burnt there. It's just the oregano. And as always, the bits on the bottom of the pan is what gives everything the flavor. That's where all the flavor falls. And even if you wanted to do something else with this, with the remainder of the oil that's left over, it would give it an amazing taste. Like I said, obviously I'm not going to do that here because, the only person that eats shrimp is me. Since the shrimp is already done, I'm going to add my bell peppers and onions, and I'm just going to give it a toss. This was absolutely delicious. It looks delicious and it tasted even better. I'm just going to allow it to fully cook now. And I think I want to add something green, but I'm just not sure. I looked in the refrigerator and I found more spinach, but I had spinach for breakfast, so I don't want to add that. What I found was parsley. So I cut it up roughly, not too finely, roughly, so that I can still taste it while I get the bite. And I added it and tossed it in as well. Not only did it give it, a more presentable look, but it tasted phenomenal. And this is me just serving myself a small portion. As much as I wanted to have the whole thing, I knew that, I shouldn't have. And I just served myself a little bit. And what I didn't show was that I ate it with a tortilla. And it was phenomenal. So this was my lunch, and I hope you enjoyed it. So dinner's always fun. Today I made whole grain mustard chicken. If you see, I added a teaspoon and a half. I also added some oregano, and I pulverized it with my fingers. Liquid aminos that replaces the soy sauce. It's a little bit healthier and less sodium. I also use cumin, same measurements as before, or maybe a little bit more because there were more chicken cutlets. White pepper and yellow mustard powder. These are really my go-to spices, unless I'm making curry, and then the recipes change. So then I want to get right into the bowl and mix it. My hands are clean. I washed my hands thoroughly. And I'm just massaging the meat, getting the spices right into the chicken. Some people feel funny about using their hands, bare hands, to manage food and work with meats and stuff like that. But I mean, I love it. My mom didn't teach me to use gloves. She taught me your hands must be clean, but you got to get in there and work with the food that you're cooking, that you're preparing. That's the only way that she taught me, and that's how I cook. So, but I can use gloves if that this freaks anybody out. Just let me know in the comment section below. And also, what my mom didn't teach me was to cook with measurements, using measurements. So when I add my spices, I mean, I'm guesstimating that it's a teaspoon and stuff like that, but it's really how I feel, what the instinct that I get, how much I should incorporate in my food. Here I'm sauteing some onions, because what I want to do is I want to put the sauteed onions on top of the chicken. And if you haven't had that, oh my goodness, you have to try it. Most people use sauteed onions on top of steaks, and that's also delicious. But I love putting sauteed onions on my chicken. This gives it a really, in addition to all the spices that I just put on the chicken, that I marinated the chicken with, it gives it a really tasty, yummy flavor. Here olive oil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of margarine. And I'm laying the chicken cutlets on the pan. It's not scorching hot, but it's not warm anymore, as you can see from the bubbles coming from under the chicken breast. What I love about that mustard, the whole grain mustard, is that the peppercorns are included in that mix. If you can see the red and the green and the yellow, on the chicken breast, it's phenomenal, and it gives it such a yummy taste. It gives it a crunch as well. I don't know if you've ever used it, but it's really good. I think that mustard is a go-to staple for me when I'm cooking chicken, because it just gives it more flavor. I added a little bit of water, and I covered the pan only to retain some of the moisture inside while it cooks. I feel that when I don't do that, the chicken breasts tend to cook faster, and they get not harder, but they get dry. They dry out. So this is my method of cooking chicken cutlets. I make sure that they're brown, at least on one side, before I cover it and I add a splash of water. You don't have to do that if you choose not to, and if you think that it's going to make your food bland or anything, or take away from the spices and seasonings, It doesn't. It really doesn't. If it's really seasoned well, it won't affect it at all. As a matter of fact, when you remove the chicken from the pan, you'll see that most of that water and oil evaporates. So you'll be left with practically nothing. I mean, you can make some gravy with the bits left on the pan. And that's also another way of serving your chicken. So here I'm just completely making sure that it is fully cooked. This cutlet on the left, it stayed a little longer because I think that I cut it was too thick, and so yeah, I had to leave it there a little longer. Now the one on the right, I flipped them over, but the other one, it was ready to be moved, and I placed more raw chicken cutlets, seasoned chicken cutlets on the pan so that they can be cooked, and I can be done with the cooking process for the chicken. I covered it once more and just waiting. And as you can see, because I didn't let it brown right away and I just covered it right away, it doesn't have as much color this time around, but it still has color and it's still very well seasoned. I believe these smaller pieces are the ones that I ate with my salad, and they were so good. So we served it with my mom made the salad, I made the chicken. My mom made the salad, she made a quick salad, and to the salad we added also, you can't see it here, but we added apple. It was absolutely divine. It was delicious, and you know what? I think I'm gonna make this again. So if you like this video and if you enjoyed the recipes, please hit the like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.